Meowdy Market Moguls. I am Zach, your resident Catboy consultant. I am a social media manager for chess.com, and I make memes for a living. But I'm also a marketing major, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you a little bit about that. What's going on? We are showing you the news that does not suck. So, dating is something that we all aspire to do. Not all of us get to. Unfortunately, Twitch chat is like the #1 spot that you could go to find somebody who is single. But there are a select number of ways that people go about actually getting a date. And you won't be shocked to hear that one of the main ways that people do it now is online dating sites. In fact, this is the #1 way that people meet other people at this point in time. Which is saying something, because if you go back to the 1950s, 0% of people met each other on online dating sites. But now it is the predominant way that people meet one another. Shortly followed by friends in common, or through at school or work or some sort of social setting. Unfortunate if you happen to be a high school sweetheart. Religious institutions, POG, sure. But like, there are only so many dating apps that are popular enough where it's like, okay, I'll meet somebody who's actually in my area. If you don't have enough people on the app, then you're going to be meeting people who are like 100 miles away if you're lucky. If you have a lot of people on the app, then you have a chance of meeting somebody who's like a mile away. So people generally clamor to the exact same sites over and over and over again. And that's just a concept known as social proof. Now, there are 4 of those sites, and I'm sure you could name them pretty much off rip. They are Tinder, they are Bumble, they are Hinge, and they are Grindr. Shout out to all my Grindr fans in chat. Now, the reason I'm talking about them today is because currently all of them are on fire. He also is a Grindr fan. We already knew that. In parentheses, gay. All of these apps are currently on fire to some varying extent, because let's be honest with each other. What are we looking for when we are looking for a lifelong partner? Sex. Great job, Fluffy. You did a big butt. I don't know why I have no idea why I bothered asking you idiots. A future wife. Okay, so what are you looking for in a future wife? Big boobs. You guys are fucking hopeless. Don't so real him. Don't so real him. Okay, so this, maybe you guys will disagree with this next graph that I'm going to show you, but respondents generally report that personality ranks above looks. Looks, facial appearance, and body appearance might be a good part of it for you. If you are not attracted to them physically, you're going to have a hard time, obviously. But if you don't share similar mindsets, you're going to have a much harder time. Those are the things that you actually need. Looks and face and body appearance is like practically the least of your concerns. And so, unfortunately, I'm not sure if you've ever been on a dating app. I have. I'll tell you for free. One of the things you don't get to see from the dating apps is their beliefs, sense of humor, and professional goals. That's not happening. Every single dating app right now is currently struggling because people, both men and women, are getting very tired of them. It's exasperating. It's exhausting. It's a lot of effort for something that doesn't really feel like you get anywhere. Match Group, who currently owns Tinder, Hinge, and the Match.com, which is the name that they named after, obviously, along with a number of other brands, projected back in, I think it was last May, that their second quarter revenue would be somewhere in the range of $850 million to $860 million. And before the second quarter even came, they were like, guys, yeah, so we realized that the downloads aren't really happening right now. And, you know, I could talk about Tinder and I could talk about Hinge. That's its own thing. But the company that I'm actually going to be talking to you guys about is Bumble. Because Bumble is burning. It is on actual fucking fire right now. And I'm just going to show you guys a graph. When you look at a stock graph, what do you generally want to see? Yeah, go up. You want it to go up. And currently, this is the 5-year graph. This is the start of it, back when it was at $75.46 US, and now it's at $5.21. That is a $70 drop and a 93% drop. And you might be like, okay, great, that's over the last 5 years. Maybe they realized that the evaluation was just incorrect. That's fine. But even in the last month, they've lost 31% of what they had. So currently, they're in a real problem. So I'm going to introduce you to a woman. Her name is Whitney Wolfe Herd. She is actually very well accomplished. She has done some shit. She was the founder and former CEO of Bumble, and also became the world's youngest female billionaire in 2021 at 31 years old. If you're unfamiliar with Bumble, by the way, the premise is that the women have to message first. Men can swipe, that's fine, but women are the ones who ultimately decide if they're going to actually have a conversation. We are not asking you if you want to smash. Thank you for offering, Raj. That's not what we're doing here. Pretty sugar mommy. I mean, I'm sure the sugar part is there. I'm not going to objectify her and say mommy, but she is kind of eating in all yellow in her all yellow office. She finally stepped down as CEO of Bumble and gave the reins over to this woman, who is Lydianne Jones, and she takes over as CEO in 2024. She was previously the CEO of Slack, so she has like things on her resume that she can speak to. And she was looking at this graph here and was like, huh, number down and to the right, bad. Again, Raj, this is not what we're talking about right now. This is not Smash or Bass! Okay, so she goes, what can we do to fix this? And she changes the logo. The top one's the old one. The bottom one's the new one. Turns out that dating apps, people really care about the actual aesthetic of the place. If the dating app's aesthetic is fucked, people don't want to be there. Yeah, the classic logo change. And I'd like to say, I don't actually hate this logo change. There have been plenty of bad ones like Jaguar in recent memory, the Staples logo. So they changed up a number of things. They changed up like the fonts on the app. The interface is fundamentally changed somewhat. And they actually go ahead and change something that's very fundamental about the app. As I mentioned, one of the main components of it is the fact that men have to wait until women message first, and they change it so that women can actually set it up so men can message first if they talk about a specific topic. And I think that that's fine. I think that that's great. That could potentially be very good, because I'm going to be real honest with you. As a man on Bumble, the fact that I had to first match with somebody and then wait for them to give me the privilege of talking to them after that, I never used to like look at who I was swiping on. I would just swipe on everyone. I wasn't going to waste my time looking at women that were then going to reject me, or if they didn't, swipe right on me and then still not fucking message me. Like, fucking shit, man. Desperate ass boy. I didn't end up writing most of them back anyhow. They do that. That's nice. And then they also kind of change the way that they position themselves in like social media. They changed themselves kind of significantly. They went with a Renaissance approach where they took pictures of women looking exasperated in like pictures and like added very modern text with stuff like, have you heard of crypto? Or, but I sent you flame emojis. Like, those are actually pretty damn good. Those are pretty damn good. I like these as creatives because like everybody's tired of the dating app scene, and like they're not wrong to talk about that. Now, they are in fact wrong when they take this next step. You know full well a vow of celibacy is not the answer. Bro! What? So, this is a problem for a number of reasons. First off, this immediately blows up online, which I'll talk about in just a second, but an app that began as an icon for women basically takes the side of men and is like, just fuck him, it's not a big deal. Just fuck him, it's not a big deal. They're not dating men because the men suck. That's what's happening. This is what men want to hear, not what women want to hear, but they're acting like this is a message for the women because, let's be honest, what dating apps sell is people. They're selling the privilege of speaking to other human people. It begs the question, were there even fucking women in the room for these ideas? Like, what? Who came up with this? And this was not the only one. They went with multiple of these banners. They went, a vow of celibacy is not an answer in a different fucking part of the world. And then was like, thou shalt not give up dating and become a nun. And like, I fundamentally understand what they were trying to go for, right? Like, I understand what they were trying to go for. Like, oh, we get it. Like, you know that you can't, like, always be lonely. We're sorry that things suck. Like, I understand what they were trying to go for, but this was not fucking it. And the world immediately was like, hey, buddy, so what? Yeah, it went over as well as you'd expect. I'd just like to shout out the fact that I liked all of these posts where women are talking about this, because I'm a hashtag feminist, of course. Fuck period cramps. Hashtag fuck period cramps. Fuck period cramps. Hashtag 6'2", hashtag 6'9". We can go taller. Why settle? So they very quickly go into PR mode and are like, oh fuck, this isn't going well. Okay, you're making a donation and all the problems go away. Fine, whatever. This punishes them pretty damn big. Their revenue growth is minus 4.4% year over year, which, if you're wondering, For reference, what a company that is in the tech and particularly the dating app sector is expected to grow by, it's expected to go positive 10%. 10%. They are down minus 4.4. This is dismal. Minimum, they should be plus 3%. They are minus 4.4. That is abominable. That is abominable. The average revenue per paying user, or ARPPU, is down 9.1% year over year, from something like $23 per user to $20 per user. It is a drastic decrease, which means that people are either no longer spending as much, like they've gone to a lower tier, or they're just not buying at all. And then the operating loss, they're spending 65 cents more than $1 to earn $1, which is an operating loss of $700 million. So they are in big trouble. So what do you do if you are Bumble in this exact situation? You bring back Whitney Wolf Herd. Died in 2024, born in 2025. Welcome back, Whitney Wolf Herd. They're saying Lydianne is leaving for personal reasons. Maybe that's the case. I'm not inclined to believe that. Whitney Wolf Herd is like, oh fuck, we gotta fix this. Welcome back. Hooray! So that's the situation with Bumble. And while we're talking about dating apps, I want to go ahead and move into Valentine's Day, which just happened. I'm not sure if any of you guys celebrated. I'm fairly certain that you didn't. And apparently the average person expected to spend $188.81. This is a record-breaking Valentine's Day. We shelled out across the world $27.5 billion. 65% of consumers from ages 25 to 34, which includes Gen Z and younger millennials, were planning to celebrate Valentine's Day this exact year, according to a survey that was done. 65% for, again, a holiday that is effectively made up. This is St. Valentine. St. Valentine, the story, we don't actually know. We don't know what his story was. There are two theories of what might have happened. Either he performed secret weddings for men, even though Emperor Claudius II said that single men were better soldiers. True! Single men, soldiers, Sigma male! And so he was executed maybe on February 14th for, or, in prison, he fell in love with the jailer's daughter and sent letters to her with the text, "From your Valentine," and maybe he was born on February 14th. This was a long time ago. We were painting things that looked like that. But that's why you guys bought an entire ChatGPT at what Sam Altman wishes the price was. Again, $29 billion. I do want to talk just briefly about some of the different campaign practices that some of the companies were trying to instill here. Anthropology, which is a very youthful company, they started their campaign for Valentine's Day the day after Christmas. It was the earliest time that a company has done this type of pushing. You can never be thinking about this stuff too early, apparently. Ghirardelli Chocolate actually had a kind of interesting campaign. They went ahead and had like a Chocoloccolate, which is a kind of funny name, like Pog Ghirardelli for that. But what I understand is they would give away a actual 14-karat gold plated locket designed to hold a Ghirardelli mini square that would like be free with a purchase at checkout. IKEA also showed up. They had an interesting campaign idea that they partnered with a dating app that you've never heard of and I've never heard of.
We've partnered with dating app Breeze to offer in real life dates at some of our stores this Valentine's Day and their sleeping preferences. Because who wants to sleep with someone who's completely...
Hold on. You guys saw that man like smiling at her on the escalator, right? That was the most like, yeah, no, I'm smiling for the camera. The camera can see me, right? We're smiling. This is good. We're having a good time. Like, look at this man. I am a normal human. Look at me walk.
Could end up having their first date at IKEA, enjoying a romantic meatball dinner for two in a cozy bedroom room set to find out if they're compatible.
That's kind of cute.
Will it be a match? Rest? Get it?
I do get it. I do get it.
Users and others can register directly via Breeze.
Bro, if this is your idea of like, I mean, it could be cute if you like actually do hit it off with a person, but like this looks like this looks like shit. I've never had IKEA meatballs. that dish looks like shit.
Get ready to fall in love and asleep because do you fancy a date?
Because, bro, finish your thought. You can't do that. Because what? Anyhow, really good marketing. You should always have your message be cut off by by nothing. No, that's not a loop. No. You cannot argue with me that that's a loop. This is not a loop. It doesn't work. A loop means that the words before and words at the end cycle into the words at the start. They did not do that. They didn't try. They did not try. I'm not even taking prisoners on this. You're just wrong. Biggest L that I found, though. Biggest L. Now, I would like to give credit where it's due. Stonyfield Organic Food. I don't know what they would do as a brand trying to create a campaign. This is not it. The Toxic S Challenge. Yes! And this is what phones look like. With a stretched out unfollow button, which if you look really closely, there's clearly like artifacting around the word unfollow. This is me being a like graphic design nerd, but like, oh fuck, man. What did this button say before? Why did it say something else at all before? It's like, why is his finger cut off? We're so over toxins in our food and our DMs. This Valentine's Day, get rid of the ick and consider blocking your toxic ex on social media. Take Stonyfield's Organic Toxic X Challenge and enter for a chance to win $1,000 at StonyfieldToxicX.com or link in the bio. I would legitimately not be shocked if you had a 100% chance of winning the $1,000 by entering this. Those were the cashes and crashes on the Valentine's Day side. But I now want to talk about a very unique problem that the US has. It's not unique. Everybody has this problem. But it's the military. If you are somebody who uses Twitch and are in the United States, I'm sure that you have gotten this exact ad before in the past. In fact, this might be triggering for just a second.
Marines are made because you don't join the Marines. You become one.
Yes! This makes me want to fight for my country! I have to keep the cat ears on. I can't leave the house without them. This is currently an issue because right now, the Army is currently going through this thing where people aren't actually signing up for some reason when it missed its recruiting goal of 60,000 by 15,000, which if you're keeping track at home is 25% of the way there. That's bad. That's pretty damn bad. If you have a goal of 60,000 and you are off by 15,000, you got 75% of the way there. That's a C. That's pretty mediocre. And this is something that we're actually starting to notice on a bigger scale. The USA Facts reports military recruitment is down. Why don't young Americans want to join? And I didn't read this article, but what I imagine, I drew my best interpretation of what I imagine might be the reason that people don't want to join. And it's... This is the reason. So this is you in your army uniform, and this is a person that isn't you holding a gun and shooting you in the head. And it turns out that this is not something that is particularly appealing for people around our age. This is not something that people want. The Joint Advertising Market and Research Studies, that's what JAMR stands for, is like the Department of Defense's official marketing group. Like, they do official market research specifically for them. They exist basically only for the Department of Defense, so they don't need to like have a higher end budget or be marketing themselves elsewhere. They just do research for how to get more people into the army. And it turns out that you actually can do research and find out what people are looking for. If you're looking for what people choose to go to the army for, it's going to be some very standardized reasons. It's often seen as like a last resort kind of thing. And so people are going because they're looking for the pay, or they're looking to pay for future education, gain experience and work skills, pension and retirement benefits to better their lives, and to develop discipline. People are interested in bettering their future. They aren't actually interested in like the, oh, let me fucking be on it, or like cool and experience adventure, or because they think it's the like earnest thing to do. Like, it might be what they like have as like a passive thing, but like, I don't fucking care to fight for my country. That sucks. I certainly don't care about that. And so they are actually kind of pivoting how they do their advertising. Like, this next ad that I'm going to show you might increasingly be what ads are going to look like for the military. It's a very different vibe. Here we go.
Deciding what to do after graduation was a big deal. I had lots of options. Lots of things I was looking for. Explore my potential, then exceed it. Looking back, I made the right choice. Now, I'm excited to see how far I'll go.
Yes! King! Find your future! I'd like to just point out the stark difference between this and Marines. I'd also like to just take a quick moment. It's frankly giving, but dying in the place of someone you love.
But dying in the place of someone I love.
Seems like a good way to go.
Seems like a good way to go.
Like, okay, babe, we get it. Oh, you're so romantic. You know, watching this kind of thing would almost make you forget that you could get shot in the head. But yeah, the military has a very interesting predicament that it's currently in. And it's going to be interesting. Keep an eye out. When you continue to see advertisements for the military, even if you're overseas, if you're elsewhere, there's a chance that this starts to be the kind of rhetoric that they use in their messaging. Because currently, young people don't want to fight. Last story that we have for today. Coffee! Coffee Pog! Who here likes coffee? Coffee, kind of a big deal. This is a farm. This farm is called Finca El Puente, I believe is how it's pronounced. And it's run by a family. It's a small town family farm. And currently, they have what looks at the surface to be really good news. Remember how we want the graph to be going up and to the right? Remember that? How we want that? Well, currently, it's really fucking doing that. It's really fucking doing that. Holy shit. At the beginning of January, it was $194. Now it is sitting at $397 per pound of coffee. Per pound of coffee. And so this looks, on the surface, to be extremely good. But actually, farms exactly like the one that you just were looking at are scared. Are very afraid. This does not bode well for them. Because right now, they're fronted with a great number of different problems. Right now, the expenses are increasing. The wages, the fertilizer, and other expenses are going up right now. Which is like, this is why the price is going up and to the right. It costs more to make. Climate change is making it exceedingly difficult for farms to be able to produce coffee beans. This is becoming a big issue, especially because coffee beans are not something that you could just like, okay, let's throw a bean in the ground and it'll grow. That's not the case. It's something that like you need very specific conditions. You need it to be grown in a mountain. And there's also a labor shortage that many of the coffee plants are currently struggling with. And that's not even to mention the fact that right now, these companies are not like big farms. These are small town farms. These are family owned. 60% of all of these are people like this in their like little backyard. They're small town farms. And of course, there are people who are trying to fight for better. Fair Trade America is a big proprietor of that, pushing for higher prices to help farmers invest in sustainable practices. But as I'm sure you could probably guess, this is not sustainable. This is not sustainable at all. And so, like, this is becoming a big, big problem because you know who looks at this? You know who looks at this graph? Starbucks. Starbucks looks at this graph. Folgers looks at this graph. Keurig looks at this graph. Dunkin' Donuts looks at this graph. And you know what they do when they see it? They do this. They do that and then they see this. They're like, great, I can charge $1 billion. I can charge $1 billion right now because the price of coffee is up. Great. And this is a problem for a number of reasons because, I mean, obviously this might be good in the short term for these companies, but eventually people are going to be like, okay, I'll just get my caffeine elsewhere. Coffee is going to just be replaced by energy drinks and soda, which is ultimately going to hit the small person more than it already does. Because you know what happens when a company increases the price? None of the money ends up going back to the fucking farmer. They just fucking hold the bag because they can. What are you going to do? I'm the corporate America. You're the Honduras. Fuck you. That's what's happening here. So the money is not going back to these people. It's going to the fucking Starbucks and the Dunkin' Donuts and the Folgers and anybody else who ends up using these coffee beans. And they're just going to make it so that the price is $11 for a cup and you're going to deal with it because you're addicted because you're an idiot. Now, this isn't necessarily all bad news. There are companies that are trying to like fix it to an extent. This is a company, a small family-owned company called Coffee Co. I think that's how it's pronounced. It's in the Honduras. And they actually came up with a really good idea for this whole climate change issue. And that idea is, what if, I drew this myself actually. What if we had a big tree that's tall and has shade? And then that way it covers up all of the coffee bushes so that the shade protects it from the atmosphere. And this way we can retain soil moisture so it doesn't get evaporated just up into the sky, and it protects the coffee plants from extreme temperatures, and then also improves the biodiversity so that there are going to be other animals there. That seems pretty good. And then on top of that, they're also fair trade certified, which is pretty big. That was the company that I mentioned earlier that's currently fighting for the betterment of these coffee companies. They get more money from this thing, which they then end up parlaying into community projects. Like, they have a 24-hour health clinic that they built that focuses on like maternal and child health, and they continue to improve farming infrastructure, which ends up making it so that it's more self-fulfilling. It's something that can be used well down the road, and then also provides financial support to other farmers who may be struggling. And this is becoming pretty big because now there are 360 farms that are in the Cafeco conglomerate, I guess. It's not really a conglomerate, just for lack of a better word, but this is looking like it might be a bigger thing. Like, smaller farms might end up banding together to be able to make it so that their work is sustainable, as a number of elements end up shifting the market away from them. That was the end of this week's Meowket Mayhem. I really appreciate you guys for watching all the way through. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking, subscribing. It helps me out. I really do appreciate you guys engaging with the video on a deeper level, and consider stopping by for the stream Monday at 1 PM EST to be a part of next week's video. All right. Goodbye.